Okay, let's go ahead and just quickly review what we're going to be learning this week and what we're going to just continue to build upon. So this week, week 3, we're going to continue to build upon OOP, with classes, having classes interact with one another. We're going to be working with persistent data, so data that persists even after the application is done running. And we're also going to be interacting with CSV files. This is kind of how we're going to be making our data persist after our after our programs are done running. So quickly, just why is it important? Every application that relies on persistent data, whether it's a actual database or whether you're working for like a sales team, and the sales team needs some specific data, and they like need to extract data from the system and import it into an Excel file so the sales team or the data team or any analyst can do work with that data. So you'll be definitely working with CSV files in your role. If you are working with a sales team, CSV files aren't going away anytime soon. They're crucial to any business. So let's just quickly jump into today's lecture. So today we're going to cover a few things. We're going to cover different variable types. So we've seen this in the past, but we're just going to quickly review them. We're going to be working with classes again, specifically instantiating classes using hashes and dictionaries versus just manually typing in all of the arguments. So we're going to be using hashes or dictionaries to instantiate our classes. And lastly, we're going to review how classes interact with one another. Primarily, up until this point, we've just been having one class, executing that class, and just everything is confined within that individual class. But now we're going to have classes interacting with one another. And this is where our program actually starts to expand, and it could be difficult to understand the data flow, where the data is coming from, where it's going, how to reference that data. So that's what we're going to be covering today. So let's just quickly jump into the different variable types. So there are things called local variables. These are the most common variables that we've been working with. You've been working with them since even before Code Platoon during your application and just learning programming. So local variables. Let's just define a function called my name and city. This is a very simple method that just will print a name and city. So let's declare a couple of variables. Let's say first name equals Tom, and these are hard-coded variables. So we're not passing any arguments to the my name and city method. So first name, let's do last name equals Preet, and let's say city equals Chicago. So, and let's just return this as an F string that says, hi, I'm first name, and then just say last name. I'm from, just say, and I'm from city. So here we have a method called my name and city that defines 2 or 3 variables: first name, last name, city, and then it just returns an F string, a formatted string, where we insert first name, last name, and I'm from city. So let's just go ahead and print this. So print, and then let's invoke the my city method. All right, and save it. And I'm going to come down here into the terminal. Just bring that up a little bit more. Get off of here. And Python variable types. I spelled variable wrong. Let's go ahead and change that. variable types. There we go. So if we run that again, there we go. We'll get, hi, I'm Tom Preet, and I'm from Chicago. Pretty simple. What these specific variables here are called, these are called local variables. The variable these specific variables are only available within the scope of the my city function. So they're literally only available within this block of code. This is what is called a local scope variable. So it's only available within here. If I wanted to print like first name out here, I'll get an error. So print right here. So it prints right here. Hi, my name is Tom. I'm from Chicago. And then when I go try to print first name on line 11 right here, I get a traceback error, a name error. First name is not defined because the first name variable is only available within this block of scope or this block of code. This is the scope of these three variables is this within this block of code. So I don't have access to these variables outside of the my name and city method. And so that's local. These are local variables. There's also just a quick kind of like FYI, like life pro tip or whatever. There's another way we can actually declare these variables in a one-liner. So instead of declaring these variables all on separate lines, we can actually combine all these into one line. So we can call first name, last name, city, so all comma separated, first name, last name, city, equals Tom, comma, Preet, comma, Chicago. And now I can like delete these. And now this is the same way, this is essentially the same way, same as declaring variables like this, all on separate lines, but they're, but it's all in a one-liner. So first name is associated with Tom, last name is associated with Preet, and city is associated with Chicago. So the placement does matter. Let's just run this again, and let's delete line 9 so we don't get that error. Clear, and let's run that. It says still we get the same output. Hi, I'm Tom Preet, I'm from Chicago. So, and if I were to change the order of these, like if I said Chicago here and Tom here, it would not work because placement matters. It's almost like the same index, but so placement matters. This first name variable comes first, then the value of that variable must be the same. So right down here, hi, I'm Chicago Preet, and I'm from Tom. That does not make any sense. So let's go back. So the placement matters. All right, let's talk about global variables. Global variables, you rarely ever use them just because it can be messy. And when your application gets bigger, those global variables might change and they might mess up other aspects of your application. So let's declare or define a new method called getAge. And this getAge method takes in an argument called age. And let's assign my age equals age. And let's just return my age. So I want this age to kind of be associated with this information up here. But let's first, I'm going to comment line 8 out. Let's just get age. And so if I define, or I'm sorry, if I invoke print get age and pass in like 30, I wish I was 30, and come down here in the console or in the terminal and print this or invoke, run this file, I get 30. But again, I don't have access to my age outside of this specific function right here, this specific method. Right now, this is literally just a local variable. If I wanted to make this my age available outside of this scope, I can use the global keyword, global, and my age. So what is that? What that's doing is saying, hey, make the my age variable accessible to the global scope. So right now, so if I delete this line, right now the my age variable is only confined to the scope of this get age method. So it's only defined here. If I want to have that my age variable accessible throughout this entire program, I can just put the keyword my age, and let's actually, before I do that, let's go down here and try to print my age before I make it a global variable. So right now it's still a local variable. If I clear the terminal and I execute this file, I get the same name error that I had up here. So I get my age is not defined because this my age is not available within the global scope. So it's only available within here. But if I do global my age, it's making this my age available accessible throughout this entire application or this entire file. So if I come down here, let's clear it, the terminal, and run this file again, I get my age printed right here. And I also get my age printed right here. So 30 and 30. So let's add, so again, this global makes it available within the global scope. So it is accessible throughout this entire file. So I can technically go, hi, I'm inside the my name and city method. I can return my first name is Tom Preet and I'm from city and I am my age years old. So let's first print my age because we actually have to first assign my age. And now let's actually print my first name or my name and city. So when I execute this file, it's going to come in here. It's going to get my age. It's going to pass 30 into age, make my age a global variable, assign 30 to my age, return my age, which it'll print 30. But then I have access to the my age variable throughout this entire file. So when I go ahead and print my age, I'll come up here and assign these the first name, last name, and city variables, and that's going to come in here and return first name, last name, city, as well as the my age variable, which has already been defined and declared, and it should print this. So let's come down here in the terminal, execute Python variable types, and there we go. We get, hi, I'm Tom Preet, I'm from Chicago, and I'm 30 years old. So that's global variables. You'll rarely ever use them, if ever at all. So just generally speaking, don't use global variables, but just know that they exist and kind of how they work. All right, let's get back to OOP because we're going to be working pretty much using OOP throughout the course, especially this week. So instance variables. Let's just first create a class employee. And instance variables are 95, 99% of the time defined inside the dunder init method. Init. So again, this dunder init method is automatically invoked anytime I create a new instance of employee. So first name, last name, let's say salary. And now instance variables begin with the self keyword. So self dot first name equals first name. And we can do last name, and also salary. So these instance variables that begin with the self word are available within only available within the instance of an employee. So if we want to, let's create another method in here, which is called a class or instance method. Self say hello. And this doesn't take in any arguments, just the self keyword, which is required in instance methods. And it's just going to return an F string. My name is self dot first name, self dot last name. I get paid, self dot salary. And in here, let's actually add another instance variable called email. Whoop. So for example, when you join a company, the email that you may receive is automatically kind of created for you. And it could be a number of different formats. It can be like first name dot last name at companyname.com, or it can be like first initial of the first name followed by the last name at thecompany.name.com. But for ours, when we initialize or create a new employee, let's automatically create an email address for that employee. So here we're going to create first name dot last name at email.com. And just in case if somebody puts in a capital letter in their first name, we want the entire email address to be lowercase, we can do dot lower. And so when you go say hello, we can say my name is first name, last name, I get paid the salary, and my email address is self.email. So when I go ahead and create a new instance of employee, and the instance is called named Tom, employee, let's just say Tom, let's say my salary is $50,000. So when I initialize a new employee instance called Tom, it's going to pass in Tom pre 50. It's going to initialize because this dunder init method immediately is invoked. It's going to pass in Tom, preet, and $50,000. It's going to assign these instance variables, first name, last name, salary, and email, to my first name, Tom, last name, preet, salary, $50,000. Then it's going to create this other instance variable called email, and it's just going to continue to pass in first name, last name, and then it's going to make sure the entire sentence is lowercase. So if I come down here and invoke it, I'm going to go ahead and comment this stuff out. All right. So I'm going to clear the terminal. I'm going to print variable. So nothing happens because I'm not printing anything. So I'm going to come down here. I'm going to print tom.employee. Oh, sorry. Say hello and invoke this instance method. I'm going to clear the terminal. Print, my name is Tom Preet. I get paid $50,000, and my email address is tom.preet@email.com. So again, these are the most commonly used variables. They are available only within the instance of the class, within the instance of the class. So I can also access these instance variables by doing tom.first name, tom.last name, and it'll just print the first name and last name as well. So if I invoke this, my name is Tom Preet, I can also access them by doing tom.firstname, tom.lastname. And these instance variables are available throughout the entire class, or the entire instance of the class. So if I wanted to do like employee first name, I get an error. It says attribute error type object employee has no first attribute first name. So it doesn't have a variable called first name in the employee class. It's only available within the instance I create an employee. To continue that, let's talk about class variables. So I'm just going to comment all this stuff out. Bring this same class down here that only has instance variables in it, but let's actually create a class variable now. So class variables are defined at the top of the class, usually above the dunder init method. And it looks like just like a local variable, kind of like up here, first name, last name, but it's defined at the very top of the class. So we can say like number of employees equals 0. Whoop, that's JavaScript. And then, so this number of employees class variable is accessible from the class itself. So you can access this from just the employee class. So like before I even create an instance of the employee, like I did up here with Tom. So I'm going to bring that down here again. So before I even create an instance of Tom or of the employee, I can call employee dot number of employees, clear, and run that, and I initially get 0. So I have access to this class variable by calling employee dot number of employees. And now I have access to this employee. In order to access the number of employees, I have to prepend the employee class name on when invoking this. So for example, if I wanted to use this, I can, so anytime I create a new employee, I want to increase the number of employees by 1. So I can do that by calling the class employee. Again, I also have access to this throughout this entire class. So number of employees equals plus equals 1. So if I wanted to create a few employees, so employee 1, let's create a few employees, employee 2, employee 3, Joan Greenwood, $60,000, and Mary, let's say Holland, let's say $80,000. I can, before I actually invoke these, I want to clear. So initially, number of employees is 0 because before I even created a new employee instance. And now on line 57, I create a new employee instance. Comes in here, creates a new instance of employee, Tom, last name, Preet, salary, comes in here, executes the dunder init, assigns all the instance variables, and then also down here, inside the dunder init, I take the employee or the number of employees class variable and increment it by 1. So if I can clear down here and run this file, initially on line 56, the initial value of number of employees is 0. I create a new instance, which comes in here, increments a number of employees by 1. And then I print employee, number of employees is 1. So if I create 3 new employees, and yeah, so I created 3 new employees, and now I'm going to print the number of employees down here, and the output should be 3. So I created 3 new employees. So those are the different, most commonly used different types of variables. Totally, there is another variable called a constant variable, which essentially looks like a local variable, but a constant variable is a variable that doesn't change. So you're supposed to not change the value of that variable. So constant variables are literally just all capital letters. So such as like pi, like 3.14. Pi is a value that should never change. So we make when we declare the variable, the entire variable should be capitalized. You'll see that occasionally, but this is just tell other developers that, hey, this variable should never change its value. Okay, we just talked about the different variable types. Let's just continue with OOP. We're going to be creating classes now, and we're going to just show you different ways we can pass in values to that class. So let's just quickly create a class called let's call it soldier. And the soldier class is initialized def dunder init. So pretty much all the time your classes that you write will have an init dunder init. So let's just always takes in the self keyword as the first argument, and first name, last name. Let's do SSN, like social security number. And so when you initially become a soldier, a Marine, airman, seaman, whatever, you'll also have an MOS, or military occupation specialty. It's called different things in different branches of service, but in the Marine Corps, it's just called MOS. So let's just also create an MOS first name instance variable when I come down here. Last name, similar to what we did. No, all right. Last name, SSN. And let's also do self.mos, military occupation specialty, is initially none. So sometimes when you join the service, you don't necessarily have a specific occupation specialty or MOS yet. It might be assigned to you later on. You can be like a ground option contract that, you might be placed in, half a dozen different MOSs, just depending on the needs of the branch of service at the time. So here we have soldier that is initialized with first name, last name, and social security number. And let's just say def assign MOS self.mos. And now we have access to the this instance variable. Why do I keep saying most? Inside of this instance method. So in order to invoke or create a new instance, I can say like soldier1 equals soldier Tom preet, and social security number is that. It's not my actual social security number. So I created a new instance of a soldier named Tom preet, and I pass in a social security number. My MOS is initially none, so I can say like print soldier1 dot first name, print soldier1 SSN, print soldier1 MOS. And if I can execute this file, we get Tom, my MOS, and my initial MOS is none. Now I can always assign an MOS by calling S1 dot assign. Why do I keep saying most? Assign MOS. And I can pass in an MOS like 0811 or whatever. It's an artillery, man. So, what happened? Leading zeros and decimal integer letters not permitted. Okay, interesting. Yep. So you can't pass it. Let's just make it a string. Clear that. So it's initially none. And if I come down here, print it again, I'm printing it initially, and then I'm assigning an MOS, and now then I'm printing the MOS again. So initially, my MOS is none, and then I assigned an MOS to it, and now it's I'm an 0811. That's great and all, but sometimes our classes can take in a lot of different arguments. So I can so it's all kinds of different attributes. It can be like first name, last name, social security, like hometown. I don't know. I don't even know. Just like a bunch of different other arguments, like height, weight. Yeah, just a bunch of different things. And as our classes accept more and more arguments, it can be kind of annoying having to pass in like all this stuff all the time. So we can make it a little easier just by passing in a single argument called like solder info. And this solder info is going to be a dictionary or a hash. So instead of passing in name, like name, first name, last name, social security number, I'm going to comment that out and bring that down here. I can do S1 equals a dictionary. I can say first name equals Tom, last name equals Preet, and then SSN goes like 1, 2, 3, something like that. And now when I go ahead and instantiate a new, let's actually just put like S1 info, soldier 1 info. So S1, so I'm going to be creating a new instance of this soldier. And I could say soldier, and all I have to do is pass in S1. And then it's going to come up here, pass in a dictionary. But now I need to extract the first name, last name, and social security number from the dictionary and assign it to these variables. So if we remember working with dictionaries, I can extract this information from the soldier info dictionary. I see a spelling error. Up here. Whoop. And now here, so I only have to pass in one dictionary or object, and I can extract the information from that and assign it to first name, last name, social security number. So now in here, I can print soldier dot first name, last name, social security number, and even I can even print the MOS, which is initially none. And if I come down here in the terminal, whoop, clear, and execute this file, or run this file again. Oh, first name is not defined on line 14. I come over here, first name. First name Tom is not defined. Do I have to do that? Clear that. There we go. Okay. I just forgot to wrap my keys in my dictionary with quotes. All right. And the reason why this is useful is not just because when we pass in, preventing us from passing in a bunch of different arguments and making our class under a init method just having a bunch of arguments. We can only have to pass in a dictionary, but also when when we're working with CSV files, when we're extracting data from a CSV file, it'll be in like what is called an ordered dict, which looks like and kind of operates like a dictionary. So when we pass that data from a dictionary into a class, we only have to pass in an object or a dictionary. So that is using hashes or dictionaries and passing that in to classes. Makes it a little bit easier. Yeah. So the last thing we're going to cover today is showing how different classes interact with one another. And this is extremely important going forward. So just be prepared to get used to having different classes interacting with one another. It's going to take it might take a little bit of time to understand what's happening, but we'll show you like the data flow. It's kind of hard because like initially we're just working inside of like a small class, but now we're bringing it out. We're going to be working with multiple classes, and it can be very easy to lose track what's happening, where the data is flowing. So yeah, just be prepared to really follow the data when you're invoking classes, creating instances of classes, and just where that data is going, where it's coming from, and where it's being stored. So in here, we're just going to continue to build upon the soldier class. So in here, I came down here. I last we have this military directory. I'm going to cd in this military directory. I last in there. There's nothing existing here. So I'm going to create two files. One is called company.py, and the other is called soldier.py. So I listed everything out. Okay. And I'm going to open this military directory into a new window. And here we go. So we have a soldier director or file and a company file. So we mentioned that when you think of classes think of classes or objects as they're called, as well as nouns, a person, place, or thing. And we're going to, since a lot of us are veterans, we're going to just use this analogy to build out this little application that works with companies and soldiers. So when in the military, there's different units, and depending on the size of the military unit, they have different words or different naming. So the largest unit is generally like a regiment. So we have regiments, and then afterwards, so a single regiment consists of many battalions, and a battalion consists of many companies, or if you're in an arty like I was, or batteries. And then inside of many companies, inside of a single company, you have many platoons. And then depending on the unit you're in or the platoon you're in, Inside of a platoon, you can have a squad. So a platoon has many squads. And inside of an individual squad, you can have a fire team. And then inside an individual fire team, you can have, a Marine or soldier or Marine. So this is generally, you have regiment. A regiment has many battalions. A battalion has many companies. A company has many platoons. A platoon has many squads. And a squad has many fire teams. And a fire team has many soldiers. So technically, each and every one of these can be its own class. So I'm just going to get rid of that. So each and every one of these can be its own class. We have a soldier class, we can have a fire team class, we can have a squad class, but depending on the company or the unit you're in, generally speaking, let's just keep it simple. A company has many soldiers. So we're going to create two classes, a company class and a soldier class. So we already kind of created a soldier class before. So I'm going to, over here, I'm going to copy and paste our soldier class that we worked in, created before. So we have a soldier info, takes in, a dictionary that has a first name, last name, social security number, and it has an MOS. Initially, it's none. So now we're going to create another class called company. Class company is a pretty simple class. In the def dunder init method, the only thing it's going to actually take in is obviously the self keyword, which is required, is just the company name. Just keep it simple right now, company name. But in here is where, so a company name or a company has many soldiers. So here we're going to create an instance variable called company name equals company name. But also we're going to create an array, or we're going to create an array that will store a list of our soldiers. So I'm going to create self. So this is an instance variable, soldier list. And initially that list is empty because the company doesn't have any soldiers initially. So if I come down here and create let's create a company just called November. I know we're a platoon, but November company. I'll do India company. This is the company I was in. India, let's keep it November. So November, we're going to create a new company called November. Now, I can print November, and let's see what this looks like. Come down here. I'm going to list everything out. So we have our company file and our soldier file. Our soldier class has already been written, and we just wrote the initial part of our company class. So I'm going to clear the terminal. I'm going to run the company file. And here we go. We have a company object. This is what it looks like. This is like the memory location of where this class exists. So now this November instance, this company instance called November has some information about itself. What does it know? It knows its name, and it knows that it has a soldier list. So if I wanted to print November.soldier list, I'm going to come down here, clear that. So we get the company object, and we get an empty list because right now the company doesn't have any soldiers in it. So let's first, I don't like the way this is written because this doesn't, like, what if I created a new a new company called like Oscar. And I wanted to print November and Oscar. And when I print them out, I want to be able to distinguish the difference, like which one's November and which one's Oscar. So if I come down here and print that, see, there's nothing that's visually indicating that, hey, this is November and this is Oscar. So we covered this a little bit last week, but I'm going to create another dunder string method. It takes in the self keyword. And this string method, this dunder string, returns a string. So I'm going to return, I'm going to return an F string. I'm going to do use three quotes, because when you use three quotes, whenever it prints out, it'll actually literally print in the format like so. So I can literally put self.november, or no, self.company name. And when I print it down here, there'll be spaces in between here. So if I clear that and I run that again, there we've got November. That's starting to look a little bit prettier. I can visually see that. So when I do create a command line application, or I can visually see that, hey, this is in fact November Platoon. I can even make that a little bit. There, that's a little bit better. It's not so many spaces. All right, so now when a new soldier enters the fleet and is assigned to a company, I don't know, like from an admin perspective, how it works or who's responsible, but say there's someone, an admin, that is in a computer program, and they get a list of soldiers, or a bunch of soldiers dropped off at the base outside of wherever, whether it's 29 Palms or where I was stationed at. And the person's like, all right, you go to this company, you go to this company, whatever. So in the computer system inside of this company class, there's going to be a method that is called assign soldiers. Takes in a self keyword and some soldier info. And what this soldier info is going to do is assign the soldier to this company in the company list. So what I need to do is import the soldier class into the company, this company file. So I could say from soldier, import the soldier class. So when I I'll assign soldier single. So when I assign the soldier, what I first need to do is instantiate a new soldier within this assign soldier instance method, and then append it to this soldier list. So I can say, hey, new soldier equals soldier info, and then I can do self.soldierList.append the new soldier. So this company has an instance method that takes in soldier info and creates a new instance of the soldier called new soldier, and it's passing in the soldier info. So it comes into here, creates a new soldier instance, and then appends that new soldier instance to the soldier list up here inside of the company object. So the instance of this object. So I'm going to delete this part. I'm going to bring in a couple of, let's bring in a few soldiers. So there's created a new instance. So right here, I've brought in 3 soldiers: Tom Preet, Ruthie Cohen, and Cosmo Kramer. And now, so I've got this Yeah, so I already created a new November. I created a new company instance called November. And now down here, actually, I'm going to bring this up here. I'm going to bring up these soldiers up here. So I imported soldier from the soldier class or soldier file. I've got 3 dictionaries called soldier 1, soldier 2, soldier 3, first name, Tom. Like so, here are my 3 soldiers. Now down here on line 41, I'm creating a new instance of a company called November, and I'm going to assign November some soldiers. November dot assign soldier, and I'm going to pass in some soldier info. So I'm going to pass in this S1 soldier info. And so right here, I'm going to actually print November soldier list. And then down here, so initially soldier list is 0 or an empty array. Then I assign a new soldier to the soldier list. Now I'm going to print the soldier list down here again. So if I come down here in the terminal, I cleared the screen or cleared the terminal. Let's bring that up. So I'm going to execute that. So initially on line 41, right after I initialize a new company instance, I print the soldier list. It's initially an empty list, as you can see down here. And then I call the instance November.assign soldier. I pass in a soldier 1 info. So I pass in this dictionary into the assign soldier info. That soldier info, so I declare a new instance of a soldier called new soldier. And I call the soldier class and pass in the soldier info. So it comes over here, just visually, comes over here, creates a new soldier instance. That's what this is right here. And then I append that new soldier instance to this new or the self.soldier list instance variable. So right here. And you can see right here, I have a single soldier inside of my soldier list. And I can add 2 more soldiers, soldier 1, soldier 2, soldier 3. And now if I clear the screen, I get 3 soldiers inside of my soldier list instance variable inside of my company instance. So this is, again, isn't very pretty. So now let's actually, so inside of this company, I want to create a method that will print every single soldier. Because like right now I'm like, okay, I can print the list, but this doesn't give me that much information. But just like we printed the name of the company, make it easily readable, let's do that with the soldier as well. So I'm coming over here to the soldier class, and I'm doing def dunder string, takes in the self keyword, and I'm going to return, again, this dunder string returns a string. I'm going to say name. I'll just say soldier name, and then self dot first name, and then self dot last name, and then I'll also print the soldier social security number. Okay, so I'm going to clear the screen. Uh-oh, what happened? Forgot the last quote there. So I'm down here in the terminal again. Run that. Again, I get the same thing. That's totally okay. But now I'm going to, as I said, I'm going to create a method that print soldiers It takes in the self keyword. I don't need to take in any arguments because this instance variable of the soldier list instance variable, I have access to it throughout this entire class. I have access to it throughout the entire class as long as the method, or I have access to it throughout the entire class. So now I can literally just do, let's just print the list or self dot soldier list. And I'm going to come down here. So I initiate a new company instance called November, pass in the November, assigns that company name to the company name instance variable. I invoke the new assign soldier method, class method, and pass in 3 soldiers in it, which comes into the info or passes the soldier info inside the assign soldier method. Inside the assign soldier method, I create a new instance of the soldier by invoking or calling the soldier class and passing in the soldier info. And I append that new soldier instance to the soldier list. Now in print soldiers, I literally just print the soldier list, kind of like what I'm doing down here. I just want to continue showing that. So I can say, I can say November dot print soldiers, and it doesn't take in any arguments. So I'm going to clear that. And there we go. We still have the soldier list. But now what I want to do is loop through the soldier list and print each soldier. So I can say for soldier in self dot soldier list. So for each soldier in the soldier list, so for each soldier, 1, 2, 3, I want to print the soldier. And this soldier, I can call this whatever I want. I can look for dummy in dummy, but I want to describe this variable as to what it is. So soldier. So I can come down here, and now when I print the soldiers, it's going to loop through each soldier in the soldier list and print it, and it's going to come down here, and it's going to use the dunder string, and it should make it look kind of pretty. There we go. We've got 3 soldiers in the soldier list. That soldier name, I spelled that wrong. Soldier name, let's clear it. Soldier name, Tom Preet. Social Security, Ruthie Cohen. Social Security number, Cosmo Kramer. Social Security number. And you can even keep on building upon that, like def number of soldiers, self, you can say like return self dot soldier list dot length. I think it's like something like that. No. So if I wanted like the total number of soldiers in the company, I can do that. So I can print the soldiers. I can number of soldiers. I come down here in the terminal. Oh, what happened? Oh, so I need to print that. I'm going to comment out line 53, so it's not printing all the soldiers. I'm going to come down here in the terminal and clear it. And now I run that, and I get 3 soldiers. Just do a quick recap. So inside of my soldier file, or soldier.py file, I created a new soldier class that takes in soldier info as a dictionary, and I extract the soldier info's like first name, last name, and social security number from the soldier info dictionary. I'm assigning it to instance variables. And initially the MOS is none. I can assign an MOS if I want to. And then I've got this dunder string method that prints out the soldier name and soldier social security number. Inside the company file, I'm importing, so from the soldier file, import the soldier class. So from the soldier file, I'm importing the soldier class. I just declared, 3 different soldiers as in dictionaries. So I define a new class called company, and the company class just takes in a single argument, which is the company name, and it assigns that company name to an instance variable called company name. And it also declares a instance variable called soldier list that's going to be storing all the instances of all our soldiers in the company. And its initial value is 0, because when you first initialize a new company, it doesn't have any soldiers in it. We've got this dunder string that just prints out the company name, like instead of the really dirty object, whatever, the object and the memory location. So this, we want to actually be able to print out the name of the company. So inside the company class, we declared a new class variable or a class method called assign soldier. And this assign soldier class method takes in soldier info that when we pass it in on line 37, we assign a new soldier instance, or we declare a new soldier instance. So declare a variable called new soldier and create a new instance of soldier by passing in that soldier info. So right here, when we pass in the soldier info, it comes in over here into the soldier class, and it's like, okay, assign all that soldier info to the soldier instance. And then we take this soldier instance and assign it to, or append it to, the soldier list. So this is literally an object that we're assigning. So there, and I'm actually going to print something. I'm going to print type of new soldier, just to show you what that looks like. So if I come over here, I'm going to comment that out. Clear. So in here, we invoke create a new instance of a company called November, and we're assigning a soldier. Comes over here, passes in soldier info, creates a new instance of the soldier inside the assign soldier instance method. And now we're just doing the type of new soldier. We just want to show you what kind of type that is. So it's a class of the soldier. And if we just print out each soldier after, so we just create a new object. So it's literally just a list of objects that we're passing in, of soldier objects that we're passing in to this soldier list. And then on line 40, we create another instance method that's just called print soldier, or print soldiers, and it loops through the soldier list array and literally just prints all the soldiers. So just like here, we just print the soldiers one last time. We come down here in the terminal, and there we go. We get printed all the soldiers. All right. So now I just want to quickly review some challenges for today, because this is the way the classes interact with one another is very important. Down here, you have 2 challenges called apple trees. Think of what I just did with a company and a soldier, but now just think of an apple tree and maybe apples. So modeling systems and objects. So the learning, use instance variables and accessing instances variables effectively. And then you're going to be working with multiple objects in Python. So you're going to be creating 2 different classes, an apple tree class, similar to that of like a company, and an apple class, similar to that of a soldier. So inside the apple tree class, you'll have many apples. So, and then inside of the apple tree class, you're going to be creating aging, so you can age the tree. So that when you age the tree, it might have different affect the height, affect the age, um, whether or not the tree is dead or not. You can implement picking an apple. So picking an apple might, instead of appending apples to an apple list inside the apple tree class, you might, pop off apples from the list of apples. So if you look up here, we also have something new. So you have the apple file. This is where you'll write your apple class. So it's kind of already architected out for you. You have the apple tree, which is again also kind of architected out for you. So we have the dunder init. You need the age tree is dead, any apples, and pick an apple. And lastly, you have this runner file. We also have an apple spec file and an apple tree spec file that there's already unit tests written for you. So you must pass these unit tests on the apple tree class as well as the apple class. So it looks like the apple class only has a diameter instance variable on it. And the other thing is this apple tree runner. So this is kind of like a runner file that this is what you'll want to execute to make sure everything is working correctly in your apple tree class and apple class. So in here, looks like we create a new apple tree instance, doesn't take in any arguments, and saying, hey, while the tree has any apples, or the tree.anyApples method returns false, we want to age the tree. So we're going to keep on aging the tree. And we want to print my tree is producing apples at age, tree.age, tree.height. And then while the tree is dead, or while tree is dead equals false, we'll want to create an apple basket variable. And while the tree has any apples, we're going to be picking apples from the tree and appending it to the apple basket array. And then you're going to just report on the apple tree throughout this. So yeah, just kind of make sure you try to understand what this does. And then the next challenge is ice cream freezer. We are leaving this a little more open-ended. We're not giving you explicit instructions on how to do this, just like we did with the apple tree project or challenge. This is more kind of like, hey, it's left up to your interpretation of what you want to have with the ice cream and freezers. So here's the thing. I love ice cream is a creamy that makes delicious ice cream. Just read through this. So as an ice cream maker, I want to make different types of ice cream, peanut butter, chocolate chip, etc. As an ice cream maker, I want to place batches of ice cream into the freezer. And as an ice cream maker, I want to know when a batch of ice cream is ready to be removed from the freezer. So each ice cream class might have different attributes, like of when how long it's able to stay in the freezer before it's ready. So yeah, just read through this. We're leaving it pretty open-ended, but just to let your imagination and kind of run wild with this one. All right, that's everything, and good luck on today's challenges.